What's up, Aquarius? Welcome to your November 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kaylee Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, and anyone who's working on their personal growth, self-expression, or spirituality in any form. So if those areas of life are important for you, I encourage you to go ahead and keep watching. Now I want to just jump right into your meditation message. I actually was getting a very unusual message for you guys, so hopefully this is helpful for someone out there. But I was seeing someone kind of looking down, and there was like ocean in the background, but I don't know if that's important, but they were kind of like looking down and they were thinking about solutions to a problem that they're dealing with. And then it was really weird because I saw someone immediately after that, the kind of visual changed. I saw someone digging a hole underground, and then they kind of made like a tunnel and came out on the other side of something. So I guess the message is sort of, if you don't know how to fix a particular problem in your life, see if there isn't a way that you can go underneath it. It implies a level of, I want to say, subversion. But sometimes subverting something is good, when there's something that's not, I guess, not really fair to you, or when there's something that is, I guess, really just blocking your path in sort of an arbitrary way. I think it can be really helpful to think about how you could sort of dive underneath it, or how you could sort of go deeper to levels. Maybe even this is like a psychological thing, like take your attention to levels of awareness that like supersede the problem itself. Like you're thinking about something in a kind of like a narrow periphery, or you're thinking about it along one level, but there are other dimensions to the issue at hand. And I feel that you will be successful. That's the thing, Aquarius. I feel like whatever problem you're trying to solve, whether it's financial or family related or having to do with your business, maybe you're dealing with, I'm not encouraging anyone to do anything illegal, but maybe you're dealing with some new regulations that are making it really difficult for you to do your business. It's almost like find a way to go under it. Like find a way to work around it. Not saying to do anything illegal, but I feel like there is a creative solution, and you will find it, Aquarius. I feel that you really will find it. Maybe it's something about just getting more creative. Like if this is a financial thing, maybe you just have to get more creative with your business's structure from a tax perspective, right? Or maybe you just have to think of different ways to maximize deductions, or anything along those lines. Like it may require a restructure, it may require a rethinking, but especially if you're an entrepreneur that hires people, like if you have employees that are relying on you, you definitely probably are feeling that there's some kind of responsibility that you have to be a very solution-oriented person at this time. You probably are feeling a sense of responsibility, and even if you're a freelancer or somebody who has a certain type of business where you are there for your customers and clients, right? Like the example that's coming to mind is if you're a therapist and you tend to do in-person readings, but you can't do in-person readings. Well, yeah, of course, moving things more to Zoom or to Skype, definitely, but maybe there's some other things that you can do. I feel like you have so much potential, Aquarius. There's so much, I want to say, this is so funny, but I want to say there's so much money that's available to you in your craft and in your profession and in what you have to offer. It has so much value that you can create something very stable with whatever you're trying to do. It's just you need to be really, really creative in terms of getting around difficulties and obstacles right now. And you're not alone in this. A lot of people are feeling this way. A lot of people are feeling frustrated with the either rules that they have to comply with, or with different, I guess, things that they weren't anticipating, the change in the markets and in the economies around the world. So you're definitely not alone in feeling like you really have to problem solve right now, but what I really am here to tell you, Aquarius, is that you're going to get through it and that you do have what it takes. It's just a matter of simply being open-minded about how you want to go about changing things. And see, you've got the 5 of Pentacles, 4 of Pentacles, and the 10 of Cups jumped out when I said that. So the 10 of Cups is like, you know, obviously it's the ideal card, but the 5 and 4 of Pentacles are that energy of restructuring that I was just talking about. So it's like you have to retool some things, you have to think of, you know, some solutions, but ultimately I do feel that this is something that is going to work out for you, and maybe it will be better, like your business will be even better than ever because you went through this little period of time. So let's take a look right now at your cards. Okay, and I'm going to get you a landscape card as well from the Sacred Destiny Oracle, just to get a sense of the terrain you're moving through. Okay, so let's take a look here. So your path is the crocodile, and the influence or the obstacle card is the lamb. Interesting. So one thing that very, very quickly came to my mind with the crocodile is to strike at the perfect moment. And I don't mean strike in, well, crocodile, you know, it's a creature that hangs back, you know, it's submerged. It's, again, it's sort of similar to that energy that was coming through in the meditation about being a little bit subversive in some way if you need to. The crocodile is a creature that will be submerged. It will be low, you know, it will be kind of passing under the radar. But when the moment is perfect, it will strike and get its prey. So the fact that this is a predatory animal, I do think it says something for you this month, that you're going to have to be connected to your own self-interest. And I think that that's something that is important to remember, like, especially if you're an intuitive or you're an empath, Aquarius, or if you're, you know, kind of in a gentler mindset a lot of the time, you will need to remember the reasons that you do need to protect your own interest. Sometimes you have to do that in order to maintain your ability to take care of other people. You know, it's kind of like that old adage that they say every time you get on an airplane, it's you have to put your own air mask on first, and if you don't do that, then you might not be able to save either yourself or the other person. So this is about really taking care of your needs and being willing to, be a little sharky, perhaps a little bit connected to your own interests. But I think that as long as you're doing that consciously and you're not unconsciously engaging in that, I think it will be fine. You know, it's a matter of really being aware of what you're doing and not overstepping, you know, your own ethical boundaries and listening to your conscience the whole time, and then you'll be fine. And the lamb is the obstacle. So I really agree with I feel like this card agrees with what I was just saying, is that, you know, it may be difficult to, you might want to not have to engage in this way, but I think that you need to in some way, shape, or form. Just being really aligned with your own interests is what I see there. And the lamb is kind of It's about protecting innocence as well. Sometimes you need to have teeth in order to protect something that is innocent, right? And that's kind of, you could look at that as, well, the crocodile could be preying on the lamb, or it could be protecting the lamb. And I think that that's something to sit with for metaphor's sake. It's something that Carl Jung talked about in his own kind of somewhat autobiographical work about just knowing the part of yourself that is sort of like the wolf, having that, awareness that you have teeth a lot of times means that you don't actually have to use them. Because if people know that you will, fight back, then a lot of times you won't really get bullied. And so bullies tend to pick on people who are like the lamb, right? Bullies tend to pick on people who they know, because bullies are cowards. They'll pick on people who they know are not going to fight back, or who reasonably don't really have the ability to fight back. So you might have to do that for someone. You might have to stand up for someone in November, or you could have to represent, you might have to show that you will stand up for yourself. And I think that you'll be fine, though. I think this is more of an opportunity for you. Wow. And so we got security. So again, this is like another very, very strong message about maintaining the security of your environment, thinking again about all the time about strengthening your own positions here. So if you are involved in a business and you have financial decisions that you have to make, you have to think about your financial security. It's super important for you right now to be very on top of things like your bills, your debt, the money that you have coming in. Can you afford to pay other people to do things, or do you have to start doing certain things on your own? Do you have to switch things up? I think that it's super important for you right now to be very spendthrift, like very, very aware of money that's coming in and money that's going out. And actually something that I've personally found is that being on a budget, or being in that position of having to think about those things, it can actually be kind of fun. You can take out your calendar and write lists of everything that you are going to, spend money on, everything that you're going to need to spend money on that month. Or if you have a business, obviously you probably do that on a quarterly basis as well. But I think it's like, embrace financial mastery right now, because it will pay off when you can successfully manage small amounts of money. Larger and larger and larger amounts of money naturally come into your experience. So just be aware of that and kind of enjoy the process of keeping track of your finances, perhaps, or maybe paying off some debt if you have any. So take a look at, you've got the Chariot, Nine of Wands, the Sun, the Ace of Coins, the Death card, Seven of Wands, Eight of Swords, and the Four of Cups. So there is something interesting about the energies of November. I do see money coming in, particularly in the second week of November. I feel like the latter part of the month is sort of it's a process of figuring out how you want to store, or how you want to utilize the resources that are now at your disposal. And you may feel like there's a little bit of stress around that at different points towards the end of the month. So the first week you have the Chariot and the Nine of Wands. So some kind of perseverance is paying off for you in the first week of November, because the Chariot is a card of victory. It's also a card of mastery, which I think is so great that I just said that word, financial mastery. I think that this is going to be a time where your prior perseverance and efforts are starting to pay off in the first week of November with the Chariot. But again, you're going to have to keep working. I see you actually being pretty busy. So it would be important as well for you to, as you go into November, write down some agreements that you'll have with yourself of ways that you're going to unwind, Aquarius, because I think you're going to be working very hard And I think that there's going to be a lot of new exciting things coming in, particularly around the middle of the month. But I also want you to be very cognizant of how you're running your energy, because there's potentially going to be some exhausting influences coming your way. And you don't want to work harder than you absolutely need to, right? It would always be a good idea to maximize efficiency while minimizing effort, because that frees your energy up to be creative or to think outside the box and work more on your business rather than working in your business, right? If you're an entrepreneur, you need to maximize the amount of time that you can spend actually thinking in broad stroke terms and going with the higher vision of the company, as opposed to, being so married all the time to the details. You're not going to be able to escape that, because there are going to be some pretty significant details being worked out. But overall, I do think, some things are paying off in the first week. The second week, it's really, really nice. So the Sun and the Ace of Pentacles, intuitively, I feel like this is some kind of a raise or an increase, or maybe a profit of some kind, like maybe a capital gains type of profit. I'm not really sure. Others of you, if you're starting a business or launching or publishing something, I think the second week of November is a really, really great time to do that. So again, if you're in that position, if you have a project and you're thinking, should I launch it now or should I wait? The second week of November has some really, really good energies for you, Aquarius. And I do feel like whatever you put out is going to have a little bit of a boost, like a cosmic metaphysical boost to it that will help it get seen by more eyeballs. So if you're in that position to launch something or share something or start something in the second week of November, I think it's a really good time, because we see money flowing to you, and we see exposure with the Sun for you and your business and whatever it is that you do. But the third week, we have L'Amour, and the Seven of Wands. So there is something that's being put to rest and put to bed. It's like something being harvested in your life, but at the same time, it requires work to put it to rest. So some of you, I almost could see you're moving, for example, and in the third week of November, it's almost like you have to go back to your old place and do a bunch of yard work that you agreed to do before the new residents move in, or do a bunch of cleaning or get rid of a bunch of stuff. It's like heavy workload is a result of things that you did or lived through in the past, and you have to work now to put those things to rest, to handle all of the the details and the particulars of a certain phase of your life. And it's like you just don't have the ability to skip forward. You have to go through that process of, okay, let's say you planted a big garden, and for whatever reason now you have to pull everything up. Maybe it's just because it's the end of the year or the end of the growing season in the northern hemisphere, but you have to pull all those things out at their root so that you can prepare the soil for hibernation over winter, and then eventual replanting. But there is a sense of having to deal with things from the past, and it's taking up energy for you. That's really what I feel is like. It's requiring effort. So be aware of that in the third week of November. There could be some, or if you were working on something, let's say, in the past, and you were kind of sloppy about it, or if you skipped over some details, that could kind of come back around full circle in the third week of November. And then it's like, oh yeah, I need to redo that project, or I need to refile that paperwork, or something along those lines. But it's because you didn't do it before. So if that's the case, then just take this as a lesson and move forward. The end of the month, you've got the Eight of Swords and the Four of Cups. So what I want to say about this is that if you're feeling emotionally stagnant in the last week of November, it's because you yourself are blocking off the inspiration that you wish that you could feel. And that's not to berate you or, anything like that. It's just to say that you're in control here, Aquarius. So you don't need to wallow in any feeling of stagnation Honestly, I feel like for some of you, this is really just coming up because you're tired from the third week, because the third week is going to be a heavy workload, right? Or it's going to be moving or cleaning or packaging up things from the past or finishing up old projects. And because it's stuff from the past, it's not really part of your future, so it's not as exciting. You know, like you want to, with the chariot in the beginning of the month, you want to move forward. Aquarius, you don't want to look back. You don't want to look backwards. You don't want to go behind yourself and look at what you used to do or how you used to live. But it's important that you do tie up loose ends in the third week, okay? And I think that you're just tired in the fourth week a little bit from that. So my advice for you for the fourth week is to try and take a little bit of time off. And during that time off, I want you to do some specific nurturing things for yourself. So maybe you want to take a master class over a weekend where you're just hanging out. I mean, there's not that many local like live classes going on, I think, in most places, but you could take an online workshop related to some craft that you want to learn, or something about history, or something about, some type of artistic thing. I want you to really think about what would fill your cup in the last week of November. Because I think by November 30th, you'll be feeling good. You'll be feeling much better again. But there is going to be a period of time where you are just, in a sense, you're feeling kind of down or tired. And the way to obviously fix that is, first of all, to rest, but then also fill your cup with something exciting and interesting that's just, it almost like it heals your inner child, or it awakens your inner child, right? It needs to be creative and fun. So I think you need some fun, and you think you need some leisure at the end of the month. Your Bob Ross message is, I don't try to understand everything in nature. I just look at it and enjoy it. So beautiful. Yeah. I think that's also true, particularly for the end of the month for you, is you don't need to try and look backwards and understand everything. I think that in some ways doing that is going to be what kind of drags you down emotionally. So it's just look at where you are now. Be present with where you are right now. You know, I'm not right now, but at the end of the month. You could do it now too if you want. Okay, Aquarius, I hope this reading has been helpful. Please let me know in the comments if you have any feedback or questions. I would absolutely love to hear from you guys. If you did enjoy this reading, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and also subscribe to notifications so you never miss another reading. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.